Hear you, Roddy.
Sorry. Would you tell me who has won your kick return job and your punt return job, your special teams? We don't get to see any of that. So if you would, and what is the status of Warren Erickson's hand, if you'd be so kind? How's he doing snapping?
Warren Erickson's doing awesome. We're fired up about Warren Erickson. He's been able to practice for the last 2 weeks. He's done an excellent job. As far as punt returner, kick returner, that is actually still to be determined. We didn't get to go outside today, and we were going to do some live kicks today to kind of finalize that. But, probably Kenny, Kieris, Ladd, those are the guys in the running, DK. So those 4 guys primarily, and Cook has worked back there, and Zamir. So it'll be one of those guys. Kickoff return will be more of the backs. Punt will be Ladd, Kieris, DK, or Burton. But really those guys have all been kind of neck and neck. And it would probably just be Kieris. But to be honest, he hadn't gone through everything this camp. So he's had some time where he wasn't out there, and he's been out there now for, I guess, the last 2 weeks. So we certainly feel very comfortable with him.
Kirby, I want to ask about the DBs again and kind of stay up on that position. How many corners do you typically play in a rotation? And will that change from Clemson? Do you anticipate a lot of spread? I mean, how much depth will we see out of your secondary in this game?
We typically play the best corners. So, I mean, we don't rotate at corner unless we feel like, A, there's a conditioning issue, B, there's a matchup issue, but your best guy's got to be out there at all times. I mean, in all my years coaching, conditioning has not been a factor for corners unless maybe he's coming off of injury or, coming back from something where his stamina doesn't allow him to play the whole game. We've had years where we rotated in that we thought the guys were equal, but it'll all go game by game. What are the matchups? What is he good at? What are they good at? Those kind of things. What was the rest of the question, Mike?
Just about the depth, and if you anticipated playing more DBs because of Clemson spread and maybe tempo.
No, I mean, the tempo doesn't allow you to play any more guys. We'll play typically like what we always do. We'll have 4 DBs on the field some. We'll have 5 DBs on the field some. We'll have 6 DBs on the field some, and then we have packages with 7 DBs. So we'll carry the same packages that we've always carried. There's no difference for us. I mean, we're just not as deep, but that doesn't prevent us from doing our package.
Okay, let's go to Chip Towers and then Mark Weiser.
Yeah, staying on kind of the DBs theme here, Coach. I just looking at their wide receiver core. I mean, everybody talks about Justin Ross, but one thing that kind of pops out, you see a lot of 6'3", 205, 6'4", 6'5", 6'3". Anything specifically difficult about defending guys that size? And have you been? I can't think of anybody you guys have gone up recently that were so big across the board, right? Not just 1 or 2 guys, but everybody seems to be in that demographic.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the right adjective, but that is definitely a strong group. They are big. They are physical. They do a very good job going up and getting the ball. They're really good 50-50 ball guys. We've seen a lot of them on tape. Justin obviously has been a great player for them for a long time, and now he's coming back. So I know they're excited to get him back. They are a matchup problem, but in some ways we're bigger at corner than we've ever been too. So we've got 3 guys that are 200 pounds rotating through there. We've had really fast and we've had really long guys, but uniquely the 3 or 4 guys we're playing now are all 200 pounders. Now their guys are 210, 220. So I mean, the thing that concerns you is 50-50 balls, blocking on the perimeter. That's critical. To be able to block on the perimeter. And if you don't go against guys that size, we put our guys up against tight ends to try to simulate what we think they'll see in a game because of the size of those guys. But getting on and off blocks is critical to every football game, but it's really critical to this game because we know the spread element, the perimeter screens, the ball out quick. I mean, you got to be able to tackle and you got to be able to get off blocks. And those big guys make that hard to do.
Thank you.
Kirby, you were asked by Marty and McGee on their TV show about what it would be like to win a national title at Georgia. You said it would be special and it's coming. It's a matter of time for our players. I know others, see it the same way, and obviously you nearly won it in 2017. Why do you feel it's coming?
Well, it has to be coming, right, Mark? I mean, if it's not coming, then what are we doing? I mean, so I don't look at it in perspective of when. I look at it in perspective of what's important now. What are we doing now? And I know the people in this organization. I know the administration. I know the people in the state. I know the people that love Georgia and the energy, enthusiasm they have. It's just, it's always long overdue, right? I don't care if you won one 3 years ago, it's overdue.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the end game. That's the goal. That's what you're always trying to work towards. It doesn't make it a successful season or failure if you don't. I just don't look at things that way. I don't let that control my thought process in my life. But I certainly pursue excellence, and that's what excellence is.
Okay, let's go to Seth Emerson and Jake Rowe.
Kirby, when you're going through personnel decisions for this game, were there any tough decisions that where you're saying, all right, this is a matchup based thing, this is better for us against Clemson, but we also want to, make a decision about maybe this guy's more inexperienced, but he needs the experience, he'll be better for this? Were there any of those kind of tough balance personnel decisions considering the magnitude of this opener?
Yeah, I feel like there's decisions like that every week. I mean, you have young, talented players, and I'm not going to say that your older players aren't talented, right? That's not fair. They wouldn't be here if they weren't talented. But you may have more talent in a spot, and you may have more experience in a spot, and you're weighing those two options of where does the experience of the lesser talented player versus the talented and the less experienced, where does that balance hit? And there's some different scenarios on there, and it's early in the season. Like we haven't had a game, so we haven't found out a lot. We try to find out in the spring game, which we had a lot of mid-years play. We try to find out in preseason camp, 2 scrimmages, but it's hard to measure what this game is going to be like for a kid that hasn't maybe played. Maybe he was on the team last year, and I'm trying to think of an example. He didn't have a large role, and now his role has to increase. And then you have to weigh the option of another guy. We've got several situations like that where it might be on the offensive line. In some cases, it's that way in the secondary. Experience is just so valuable in those positions. I'm talking about the back end. I'm talking about the offensive line, because one mistake on the back end, and it's a touchdown. One mistake on the front line, and you may have a sack fumble, or you may have a turnover. That's not always the case at receiver. We chose to do that with Jermaine last year, and it helped us in the long run, but it probably hurt us some against Arkansas for some mistakes. And I know I've brought that up many times. But we're forced to make those decisions, and they're not always easy decisions. And sometimes they change in the middle of a game. So,
Kirby, every time we talk to you, it seems like you're in preseason camp. You've got some version of we got a long way to go. But you've also said that this team's ready for a game, and that's the next stage of development. How ready are you to play at this point in terms of your team? How ready do you feel this team is to play, and how pleased are you with how your preparation has been over the past 3 to 4 weeks leading into this?
I'm pleased with the preparation. I'm ready to play a game. Our kids are ready to play a game. We need to play a game. We need to play a game to get better, because I don't know that we're going to get better continuing to practice against each other, to walk through and to teach. There's no more time for that. Like we have a couple more days, and we certainly can prep these days. We've got a lot we can improve on for that, but we need to go play. And, we're not where we need to be. Number one, we're not healthy to the point we need to be, but we also aren't as good as we need to be. We got some young, talented players that don't have the experience. You know how they're going to get it? They're going to go play. And at this point, we got to go play. I mean, I'm sure they're no different. It's not like everybody, with the exception of their defense, they got everybody back, but they got young guys that are going to have to go play.
Okay, let's go to Dean Legge and then to Brandon Sudge.
Kirby, I got 2 quick things here. First of all, when you're playing in a neutral site game, does it matter who the home team is in any way as it relates to anything at all? And then secondly, we talked earlier about perimeter blocking and fighting and so forth on the edge with your DBs and so forth. When did that become as big a deal as it seems like it is these days in college football?
I don't know if it just snapped. I mean, it evolved. I mean, for a long time, the perimeter, like you never even brought the DBs to what they call inside run. You just let like the linebackers and safeties and the O-line, the backs and tight ends go have it out. And the corners and DBs went off and played one-on-one. And they weren't even a part of it. And then slowly but surely, the RPOs, the perimeters, the plays that have 2 plays, sometimes plays have 3 plays. The quarterback can run it, he can throw it, or they can throw a single back to the X. So, I mean, you got a play to the field, a play to the boundary, and then a play up the middle. And it's just, you got to have everybody to defend it. So it's just very unique the way football has grown. And it just makes all offenses hard to defend. And that's, I can't give a year on that. Just every year it's gotten, because every offensive coordinator gets a new wrinkle. Is able to do it. What was the first part?
Does it matter who the home team is for y'all on the neutral?
It does not matter to us. If you ask specifically, usually it has something to do with uniform, right? And I mean, I can't even tell you who the home and away is. I mean, Claude will know that. It's not something I pay attention to, but that's how you get your uniform. Sometimes it has something to do with who gets to bring recruits. So some teams allow recruits to go to those neutral site games, and the home team may get it one year and the other team get it the next. Sometimes it has something to do with locker room. But this is unique for us because I've never been to Charlotte for a game.
Kirby, I was wondering, could you update us on the Dominic Blaylock's rehab? Kind of tell us where he's at and how he's helping you guys right now.
Yeah, Dominic's done an incredible job of his rehab. He's worked really hard. It's been a tough year on him when you think about going through what he went through. He had fought all the way back. He re-tears the same ACL. And now it's over, I think, a year from the time he tore it, and it's been 12 months. And, he's gaining confidence in it. He's like today, he was out running routes. He actually went on the scout team and did everything against the defense so we could get an even better look and get, a good wide out of it. And he's done everything. So you say, why can't he go play? Well, it's still gaining confidence for him. It's getting his stamina back. It's being able to get him a cumulative number of reps. He hasn't been able to rep with our 1 and 2 offense because he hasn't been ready. And now he's building confidence. I thought he made a couple plays out there today that were good plays and really challenged the first and second defense. So I can't tell you when he's going to be out there because I don't know, but he's close.
Okay, let's go to Davis Baker, and then we'll go to Stuart Steele.
Hey, Coach, you talked about your guys needing to play. Has there been an increased energy this week? Are they burnt out? Like, what's the, vibe and energy been like in practice?
It's been great. No, they need to play because it's time to play. I mean, we don't practice this game. We practice to play. So like, there's nobody that wants signed up for football that said, let's go practice for life and never play a game, right? So like, they want to go play a game. There's no vibe or energy that says that they're tired of practice. If anything, our energy has ramped up with, exposure to Clemson. They get excited about it. They hear about it. And we're trying to, keep the reins on that and build that to a crescendo for the game and not have it build in practice. But certainly they enjoy getting after it and they enjoy practicing for them. They're excited for a game, and so am I.
Hey, Coach, how are you feeling about Zamir White and James Cook right now and your running back room as a whole?
Excited. I think I feel about our running back room, probably feel like they feel about their defense. You got all these guys back that have played substantial amount of time, and you've got James and Zamir, and Kenny seems like he's an old player now, and even Kendall getting to play, and then Dejan. I mean, there's just a lot of backs that have done a lot of good things. I just, it's not like you wish you had more of them. You wish you had more positions with the same experience that position group has. Certainly would be the position group on our team that has the most experience and confidence.
Okay, we got time for 2 more questions. Let's go to Connor Riley and then Jed May.
Hey, Kirby, how has Jordan Davis improved as a pass rusher? And do you think he's achieved the goal of being a 3-down player entering that first game against Clemson?
In roles, yes, he's a 3-down player in certain roles. He certainly is. I mean, he's elite at pocket push. He's elite power. One of the strongest kids I've ever been around. He helps you the way he's able to run games and things because he's just different. I mean, there's just nobody quite like him. in terms of the volume and the reps. But he has a third down role for us, yes, but his primary role is first and second down, obviously, and he's worked really hard to improve his quickness, and that's been one of the areas that most he knows that when he's in there that there's less run game in between those A gaps with him in there. So it's all about, can he affect the perimeter and can he cover down and do things, and that's what we've tried to really work really hard on.
Hey Kirby, John mentioned yesterday that strain is a key to this game. I think he mentioned like coming across the field to turn a 40-yard run into a touchdown run, things like that. One, in your experience, I guess, is that something that's the key in these big kind of games? And two, is that something that can be taught in practice, or is that just kind of up to the individual players to bring that energy during the game?
No, I definitely think strain is important. I've stressed that will you be outstrained, and it's critical to any game. I mean, I think it measures somebody's heart, courage, and toughness to strain a little longer than the other guy. Are you going to hold your block a little longer? Are you going to fight a little harder? And everybody wants to win, but will you outstrain the guy across from you in every one-on-one battle? And that's what we challenged our guys to do this week, and not just do it during Saturday, build it where you can't help but do it because it's your habit you do every day of practice. So we've talked a lot about strain, and Fitz is a guy that strains really well.
All right. Thank you, Coach Smart.
Thanks, guys.
And